HOA Karen tore down my swing. I hung a hammock the size of her ego. You don't really expect a porch swing to start a war, but mine did. I'm Eli Morales, 42 Navy vet and stubborn homeowner in Roswell Hollow, a so-called tight-knit community with more HOA rules than decency. My daughter, Riley, and I moved here 6 months ago after her mom passed. We needed peace, shade, and something steady in our lives. That's what the porch swing was about. I built it by hand oak wood seat, braided rope, reinforced frame. Riley helped paint it teal. We'd sit on it every evening, sometimes saying nothing, just listening to the wind. It became a rhythm, a comfort, a piece of sanity in a world that had gone too fast and too cruel. Enter Karen. She introduced herself the second week we moved in. Clipboard, whistle, unofficial badge clipped to her floral blouse like she was the sheriff of suburbia. I run things here. She smiled, tight-lipped. Just keep the lawn neat, no unapproved structures, and we'll get along fine. I nodded. I didn't sign any HOA documents. There was no official association when I bought the house. It's technically a volunteer committee, and I wanted no part of it. But Karen, she wanted every part of me on record. She started small, notes in the mailbox, untrimmed grass, trash bin visible from the street, swing violates community uniformity clause. I ignored them all. Politely at first, I'd served 2 tours in Afghanistan. I wasn't about to be scared by a laminated lanyard and passive-aggressive post-its. Then came the morning it all changed. I was inside, making breakfast. Riley screamed. I rushed outside and saw it Karen, standing in the driveway, holding a crowbar. My swing hung crooked. One rope snapped. The wood cracked and split on the pavement. It was a safety hazard. She snapped, and an eyesore. No one approved this. You did this. My voice cracked with disbelief. This is HOA property, she said, puffing up. I had every right. Oh, I said, you trespassed and destroyed private property. She shrugged. Take it up with the board. I stared at her. There was no board. There was no real HOA. There was only Karen and her fragile ego wrapped in legal-sounding words. And just like that, the battle began. The neighborhood buzzed for days. Some folks took her side, parroting nonsense about visual cohesion. Others, those who knew me, those who watched Riley cry on the porch that night, started asking questions. The swing wasn't just wood and rope. It was and she broke it. I started digging. Karen had been issuing fake citations for years, fining people, threatening liens, all bluster, no law. She made up rules, printed her own notices, even created a fake website with HOA branding. No one challenged her because no one wanted the hassle. And those who did, they moved. I wasn't moving, so I printed every fake notice she ever left, took photos of her on my porch, crowbar in hand, spoke with the realtor who sold me the house, confirmed in writing that no formal HOA existed. I compiled a dossier, but I didn't go to the police. Not yet. I had a better idea. One weekend later, I set up a hammock. Not just any hammock. A 12-foot wide, bright orange woven beast hanging from a freestanding wooden arch I built in my front yard. Big enough for 3 people. Visible from the street, unmissable, unignorable. Neighbors stopped, laughed. Some clapped. Karen stormed over the minute she saw it. You think this is funny, she hissed. This violates several. There are no violations, I said calmly. You're not an HOA. You're mocking this community, I'm restoring it. And that's when I pulled out my phone and hit upload. The video, her smashing the swing, me explaining the hammock, and Riley naming it the Justice Seat, hit 300,000 views in 48 hours. Then it got serious. The video took off faster than I ever expected. Within days, it wasn't just our sleepy cul-de-sac talking. It was the whole county. Then the state. A veteran's handmade swing smashed by a self-appointed HOA tyrant. It had drama, injustice, a grieving daughter, and a hammock so ridiculous it practically invited attention. People loved it, but not everyone was cheering. Karen doubled down. She marched door to door with a stack of petitions, yelling about neighborhood standards and public nuisance ordinances. She even called a town inspector on me, hoping to get my hammock declared a structural violation. But karma, as always, keeps receipts. The inspector turns out he was a retired Marine. He looked at my setup, ran his measurements, gave Riley a fist bump, and said, "Looks like craftsmanship and healing. No violations here." Karen fumed. "You're ignoring codes." "No, ma'am," he said dryly. "I'm ignoring you." I thought that would be the end of it. But with narcissists, there's always one more act. One of my neighbors, Miss Janelle, retired librarian, sharp as a whip, had been watching quietly from her rose-covered porch for months. After the video went viral, she invited me in and showed me a file. Karen had been collecting dues, hundreds, sometimes thousands, from elderly homeowners who thought they were required to pay. Fake letterhead, fake fines, fake late fees. This one, Janelle said, holding up a receipt, paid over $4,000. She thought her home would be taken if she didn't. I couldn't believe it. Karen wasn't just a nuisance, she was a scam artist. I added it to my growing file and made calls. Riley helped me scan every document. We found over 20 families affected, some intimidated, some just confused. Karen had leveraged fear and her fake title to line her pockets, and people were angry. Within a week, I organized a meeting at the community park. No clipboards, no gavel, just lawn chairs and truth. Janelle brought her files. A local news crew showed up, having caught wind of the HOA that never was. One by one, neighbors spoke out. Old men who had stopped hanging flags because Karen threatened fines. Single moms who were told their kids couldn't ride bikes on the sidewalk. A widow who was forced to repaint her door 3 times. Riley read a letter aloud, the one Karen left after destroying the swing. That's when the dam broke. People cried. People yelled. People decided enough was enough. Karen wasn't at the meeting, but she saw it. She watched the live stream from her living room and, predictably, responded in the worst possible way. She called the actual HOA hotline of a neighboring town and tried to report me. Problem is, that line was monitored by someone I served with. Former Navy, now compliance officer. He gave me a heads up and passed the call along. The recording, pure gold. Karen, he's causing unrest. He's a threat to community order. Officer, ma'am, your community doesn't have an HOA. Karen, well, it should. That audio went viral next. I filed a civil suit. So did Miss Janelle and 3 other families. Karen was served papers by a sheriff's deputy at 8 a.m. on a Saturday right in front of the giant hammock, which by then had been decorated with red, white, and blue bunting and a little plaque for peace, for Riley, for justice. Karen tried to spin it. She went on Facebook rants, blaming wokeness, liberal media, and even foreign influence. But the damage was done. Eventually, the city pressed charges for fraud and impersonation. She was fined heavily, ordered to pay restitution, and banned from leading any community group. She moved out 3 months later, quietly. No goodbye party. No one noticed until her house hit the market. We didn't just stop at taking her down. With the community finally free of her grip, we started something real. We created a neighborhood coalition, voluntary, inclusive, built on actual consensus. We focused on block parties, kids' safety, garden swaps, and yes, porch swing days. I rebuilt mine better this time. Wider seat, stronger rope, custom engraved plaque. She tried to break us. We built anyway. Riley hangs out there now with her friends. Sometimes they talk, sometimes they just swing. And every time I look at that hammock or hear the laughter, I'm reminded this isn't just about structure. It's about space, to grieve, to heal, to be. Karen thought power came from paper, from threats, from a whistle and a fake title, but real power that comes from community. From people speaking up, linking arms, telling the truth even when it's messy, especially when it's messy. If someone in your neighborhood is abusing authority, challenge it. If you've been silenced, speak. If you've lost something, build again. Because justice, like a swing, might bend under pressure, but if you hold on tight enough, it always comes back around. Call to action. Have you faced fake rules, bad leadership, or someone abusing power in your community? Share your story. Let's talk about what fairness really looks like and how we can build it together. Leave a comment about who was right, who went too far, and how you would have handled it.